हाय एवरीवन, थैंक यू फॉर वाचिंग न्यूज़ वी चैनल। अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है चैनल को, प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब करिए और नए नए कंटेंट और नए नए एपिसोड्स देखते जाइए जियो पॉलिटिकल हैपनिंग्स अराउंड द वर्ल्ड। अब डोनाल्ड ट्रंप जो है, आई एम सॉरी, हम तो उनको ट्रम्पेट बुलाते हैं। तो डोनाल्ड ट्रम्पेट जो हैं, उनकी बहुत बड़ी परेशानी हो गई है इंडिया। वेदर इज अवेक, वेदर इज इन स्लीप और वेदर इज ड्रीमिंग, एवरीवेयर ही कैन सी इज इंडिया। जब वो सुबह उठते हैं तो सबसे पहले इंडिया के बारे में ट्वीट करते हैं। जब वो रात को सोने जाते हैं तो सबसे पहले इंडिया के बारे में ट्वीट करते हैं। ही इज़ टुडे वन ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड जो सबसे परेशान है इस टाइम पे। आई मीन अभी आज एज रिसेंटली एज टुडे यूएस प्रेसिडेंट डोनाल्ड ट्रंप said India and Russia appear to have been lost to China following the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting in China's Tianjin this week। जो अभी एससीओ हुआ था उसी की बात कर रही है। Now, what happens is several former US officials have suggested that Trump's tariffs have reversed the bilateral ties between Washington and New Delhi, pushing the latter towards China. And there is no doubt in this. It is due to Trump's action that today India has got close to China. Now, let's understand one thing. The new friendship which you see between India and China has been brewing up since 2024, right? This is not of today. As far as I can recollect, since September or October 2024 is when slowly and gradually things are working in background, with respect to India and China. And this is something which the US would have been aware of. And irrespective of that, now you do some things like tariffs of 50%, which get India closer to China. So this is something which has been done by you, and today you might regret this decision। जो आपने इंडिया के ऊपर लगाया टैरिफ्स वो आप शायद रिग्रेट करते होंगे, लेकिन at the same time now you cannot go back on it very easily। Slowly and gradually it might happen over the time, but if you speak of today, you just cannot roll back that 50% tariff to 18-15% tariff again. It's because then it would showcase to the world that India stood up to United States and United States had to take a back foot. Now, sometime back, a couple of days back, former US National Security Advisor John Bolton on Thursday said, that one strong personal rapport between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Trumpet is no longer intact, as he blamed the US president for pushing back the bilateral ties by decades. At the same time, you have this former National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. He said Trump's massive trade offensive against India forced it to sit with China. He said that the allies now see the US as a big disruptor, while China has moved ahead of America in popularity. He also says China has moved ahead of the United States in popularity in a whole lot of countries. And that was not the case 1 year ago, where countries now are basically saying the US brand is the toilet and China is looking like a responsible player. Now, these are the statements and comments which are coming from former people who have been into the government or in some really high respectable positions in the United States of America. So, not all is well with Trumpet, our darling, but then he now seems to be in a quick fix situation where he wants to try and fix out something, but is not able to do it also. Right? Now, what happens is in the earlier week, I'm sorry, towards the earlier, week you saw that China showcased its military strength at a parade, and you know, this was the SCO Summit which happened, and one day or maybe 2 days later, a couple of days later, right, they had this huge military parade, where China showcases military strength, right, and that too they did in the presence of Xi Jinping, standing alongside Vladimir Putin and Kim, the highest, who's the highest state head of North Korea. Now, this is the first time Jinping, Putin, and Kim have stood together, and it comes just days after Jinping hosted a carefully choreographed summit of leaders from across Asia and Middle East. Let me tell you, that was a carefully choreographed event which happened. It's because the message had to go to US and the West, and the message did go to the US and West, where out of four superpowers, there were three superpower head of state present in that summit. And the way they choreographed the entire piece, the way the photographers shot every moment in detail, whether it was Narendra Modi, whether it was Putin, whether it was Jinping, they all coming together, shaking hands, going hand in hand, smiling at each other, talking endlessly about things. These all photographs were all over the internet, all over the US, all over the West. Now, the events and the attendance list send a clear message. China is ready to rebalance the global power and has the military to back itself. Plus, it has partners interested in the same vision, including the Russia friendly European leaders of Serbia, Slovakia, and Belarus. I mean, Belarus has been with Russia since a long time. If you recollect the Russia Ukraine war, which happened, which started off initially 2 3 years back, Belarus, was open to giving its bases to Russia. So they've been pretty close that way. So speaking before the parade which happened, the mighty parade where China did show its military strength, Jinping emphasized Chinese nationalism and strength, telling his military that China's rise was unstoppable. He also warned the world leaders or the world needed to choose between peace and war, and that China is never intimidated by any bullies. The word bullies was used because we all know how US has bullied countries over many, 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 many hundreds of years. Now, there's an interesting thing which happened. The Indian Prime Minister or the Indian Premier, Narendra Modi, he was there at the SCO Summit, but he skipped the military parade. He did not attend the military parade, and there's a reason why he did not attend it. There could be possible reasons. Now, Modi's decision to skip these, grand show which happened over there could be a calculated diplomatic statement. Attending the parade would be seen as a tactical endorsement of, Chinese People's Liberation Army, the very military engaged in a tense standoff with Indian troops in the Himalayas, since a deadly clash in 2020 which we had in Galwan. Now, Modi's stance, was hardened by Beijing's role in India's brief but deadly conflict with Pakistan this year. That could also be one of the reasons how Chinese helped the Pakistan when the Operation Sindoor happened. Now, by abstaining from the parade, Narendra Modi sends a very clear message. A return to normal relation is not possible while China simultaneously engage in border aggression and strategically props up India's primary adversary, Pakistan, a nation long hailed by Beijing as its ironclad brother. Furthermore, there could be another context to it also, that Modi attending a parade of such magnitude to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II following Japan's formal surrender would be viewed negatively in Tokyo, a critical economic and strategic partner for New Delhi. And moreover, when Modi had, before visiting China's SCO summit, was in Japan a few days ago. Now, Modi's absence makes crucial distinction. While India can engage with China in multilateral forums, right, it will not separate the symbolic diplomacy from the realities of its national and security concerns. So that is very important. Now, after the leaders of China, Russia, and North Korea met in China, Trump also wrote on his Truth Social to Chinese leader Jinping. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim. Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America. So it literally seems, that Trumpet has lost it. I mean, does he even realize what is he writing? Right? Though there are rumors in the circles that he might not be well, he might not be keeping well, but when you see these kind of statements coming out, you tend to trust those rumors. So I don't know, how does he write these statements? How does he mention the statements? Uh, I'm very sure the kind of diplomacy which went around in the SCO hasn't gone down with Donald Trump. And who's to be blamed? It is this trumpet who's to be blamed for that, right? Russia and China are close, are getting close in the last, you might see 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. But then the sudden warmth between India and China of late has been a concern for US, right? Because in the last 20-25 years, as it was made to believe that India was a great partner to US, but then US was one of those countries and has been those kind of countries, right, who has always used other countries for its benefits. And that is how it was using India also. Now, now suddenly it is thanks to Trumpet that this entire thing, entire picture towards India, entire rosy picture which was built in the last 20-25 years towards India has come into the open, right? Believe me, if it is United States, it will not get into any country without any ambitions. And by having really good relations in the last 20-25 years, they were not doing at all a favor to India. They wanted India to counter China. If they could counter China by themselves, they would have never shown this kind of warmth in the last 20-25 years. Whatever all the good deeds which happened between both the countries. It is only their requirement for a country which can counter China, and hence India was one of its allies. So Trumpet has really lost it. I mean, every morning he gets up, the first thing he would tweet about India, whatever thoughts come into his mind, and those are the wildest thoughts which come into his mind, irrational thoughts which come into his mind. I'm not sure um, what is he doing the entire day, all day, daydreaming about India, what India has been doing, what Russia has been doing, what China has been doing. That is his latest concern now. Till some time back, India was the only concern which he had with respect to tariffs. But now when he's seen that Russia has not been able to do anything, China has not been able to do anything, India, he never expected in his wildest dreams, would stand up to his tariffs. He thought India would buckle down, right, with that 25%. India would buckle down with that 50%, and it would have an upper hand. But the entire dynamics changed for Donald Trump. I'm sorry, Trumpet. When India took a decision to stand against United States tariffs. And by that, giving a signal to the entire world that yes, you can stand up to United States of America. It is just that you need to have a rationalist approach to it. Till date, if you see, India has not gone overboard and given out some comments or statements, like these Americans have been doing. I mean, Americans as a whole are not doing it. It is only this Trumpet and his band of jokers who are there in his administration, who were more of his golf, buddies. So it'll be really interesting to see how the days move ahead, with Trumpet losing more of his mental balance in the coming days, right? Losing his sleep over India, and what all statements would now more come out of it. And don't be surprised if these sanctions now move ahead from 50% after this SCO summit, right? Because the latest statement, right, which has come today from Donald Trump, I'm sorry, trumpet is not a very good one, where he's really bothered about now India and Russia falling into the dark realms of China. And look at the way he's mentioned over here. He's mentioned India and Russia appear to have been lost to China, right? I mean, it seems that he only has the brains. India and Russia do not have the brains to understand that if we are losing ourselves to China. That's about it for this episode. Be tuned for further episodes where we will discuss the geopolitical situations around the world. And yes, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel for future updates and videos. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Jai Hind.